You cannot say that.
That's right, this podcast should be illegal. With me is former barrister, international entrepreneur and serial award winner, including most influential lawyer. It's Laura Keily. We've got Ryan McCrosson coming at you from New Jersey. He's former KPMG. He's a federal admitted attorney and advisor to 2 US presidencies. Need I say any more? This is the playbook most never get access to. Enjoy. Sifu Damian Charamutu. How's my pronunciation?
It's fantastic. So you're doing pretty good.
It's going to bring a different flavor to this episode of Keily McCrosson because with us once again, obviously we've got our regulars. We've got Laura and Ryan. And if you tuned into episode 1, then you'll know what is about to come at you. But it's going to have some hard-hitting factors today. And they're coming from Sifu. So who is Sifu? He grew up in Mauritius watching Bruce Lee tapes, and he's worked alongside names such as Jean-Claude Van Damme, Michael J. White, Robert Downey Jr. He's a businessman in his own right. He literally has his name carved into history. The man with us today has his name engraved at the Shaolin Temple itself. It is an absolute pleasure to introduce you, my friend, and we're going to take everyone over the next hour on a journey, and we're leading them, but we don't quite know where we're leading them, right? So you may need to protect us along the way. Can you do that for us?
100%. I think that's what it's about. Thank you so much for the introduction. I guess what you mentioned, I got where I am today because I think we started this conversation before we started recording. It's about commanding the room. And I think when you demand what you deserve and you know where you want to go, I mean, nothing can stop you.
Sifu set for me this week a mantra of demand what you deserve. And it's pretty interesting because often as women, we don't do that. But I'm trying to embody that a little bit. And it is interesting how it does change the way that you perceive a situation if you start to sit and think, okay, I need to be valued by these people and I'm going to make sure that that happens.
I don't have this problem.
No, I know you don't have this problem because you have a Y chromosome.
Yeah. No, maybe that's the case. Maybe it's because I'm from New Jersey. I don't know.
If you really want to sort out a problem, you've got to find the solution. You spend more time talking about the problem, you're just going to find problems. You know, if you isolate yourself and focus on the solution, nothing can stop you.
So I had some time to think about some of the recent challenges and stuff like that I've had in my life. And I'm getting on the other side of them, like recently, right? Like in the near recent, like last couple of weeks and stuff like that. A lot of the people on the call know that, you know, I'm seeing all the benefits kind of play out and stuff like that. And, you know, although in the moment I looked at those things as challenges or like, you know, potentially really bad, existentially horrible things that have been happening to me in my life, what they were in reality were tools that were sharpening my knife. Right. Yeah. And I think that that's the most interesting thing. Like for me, that's part of maturation, right? It's being able to look back and say, hey, those things actually they made me sharper. They made me a nicer person. They made my values align more with helping others and say, hey, it's the same thing, same fact pattern and stuff like that. But this is something that can make me sharper if I approach it in a different way. I think that's the most critical thing, right? And to me, recently in life, that's been an amazingly positive experience.
It happens gradually, doesn't it? Because I haven't noticed you getting wiser.
It's a very, very, very low base. It's a very low base.
And, you know, the truth is, it's, you know, human needs and wants. We're always going to want what we don't have. We're always going to need what we don't think we need because someone else has it. You know, that's the world we live in. And I guess you look at the present, bringing back to what Dion was saying about Kung Fu. The reason I was honored to be on that plaque because the Shaolin monks live in the present. You're talking about sharpening up your tools. It gives you a toolkit that you have to get up in the morning every day if you want to fight.
So Sifu and I have this thing called the Sifu drive-through, which is even if I have only 30 minutes, I will turn up to do kickboxing with him. And it is like going through literally a mental mindset drive-through because you go in thinking, I've been up since 5, my kids, you know, the shower's broken and they've got to get out of the house and one's got to get to university and, you know, our American business is rolling when I sleep. So I wake up to 50,000 emails and all sorts of stuff going on. And then I go see Sifu and it's hard and he tells me not to complain and just don't talk about it. And I come out feeling like I can actually tackle the next day.
I love the direction Sifu has given us in terms of discipline and being present. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So just even in terms of the topic that Sifu just led into, which is dispute resolution, which is obviously one of my areas of practice. And tapping into that mindset and being present, and it's quite a powerful thing to do, to try to get them in the moment of thinking about it logically and to try to get them out of the emotional side. A lot of them will come and say, it's the principle of the thing. It's the principle of, that's the reason why I want to litigate this or I want to defend this. And that is such a disaster for dispute resolution. So
I think like Laura, the only thing that I would layer into that, and I know that you do this too, is I think one of the most important things when it comes to like a client presenting themselves, right, which is almost always an emotional thing, and it makes so much sense why it is, and it's almost always acute, right, is letting the client know like, hey, look, like everything is going to be okay. Like at the end of the day, things are going to be okay. Like the world is going to keep turning. You are going to be able to put one foot in front of the other. So let's just have a moment of calmness and sit down and think, right? And I think often as attorneys, we're quick to jump to the analysis. Oh, this law applies to this, that law applies to this. You know, this is the factual pattern here. Let me ask you five to 10 follow-up questions. Okay, now we're going to do this as next steps, right? Okay, fine. Like that's really like basic attorneying, right? I actually think that it really starts at the human element, even if it's a corporate client. Even if it's a corporate client, right? Like that human element of saying, hey, let's just pause and let's just talk as two people.
For me personally, the way I handle things with pressure is there's three things that are really hard for an individual to get back. It's time, opportunity, and words. Now, as you mentioned before, the client will express themselves. There's a lot of emotions. Most of the time, there's a lot of emotions that come through. And for me personally, I listen, but I don't really listen at the same time because what's important is the outcome. Would I be able to convert that person to make a person feel differently? And if I can do it in a timely manner, it's more efficient for my time and it will make the person feel better about themselves of what journey is waiting for them ahead.
I think sometimes we have to start small, think small, aim small, and go slow to go fast, right? Like we got to get on the same page. We got to calm down. We need to think. We need to empower the client, right? Because the client knows their case better than anybody else at that disposition when they present themselves. Then we can plan and then we can start to move fast. Once we have that plan, that go forward, and then they could get that time back. But Laura, what's your disposition?
I just wanted to say that even this week, I've had someone come to me who's actually a friend of mine, a really nice person. And she was so distressed about this dispute that happened to her. And I think the best thing that I can do for her, apart from the legal analysis, is I literally just said to her, now you're with me, just park it. I know you're really upset about this, but just know that you've handed it to me and that you've done what you need to do and somebody else has got the ball and they're running with it. And they're going to do everything and have all of the necessary powers under law to do everything that needs to be done. And I think just the mere fact that emotionally that they can feel like they've delegated that problem to somebody else, it's a problem shared is a problem halved. And so that mere fact alone, that human interaction that you get is, I guess, part of our brand and one of the things that we really feel personally, Ryan and I, very strongly about in terms of how we handle our own clients.
Laura, I just want to be honest with our listeners at the moment and say I wasn't fully listening. So if she did answer the question, I don't know. All right, so I'll finish this thought because I've got input and output and I failed on both, right? I needed to just listen to Laura so that I could actually answer whether she answered the question or not, because I honestly have no fucking idea if she did. And then output would be, all right, well, I messed that up. My presence of mind, as Sifu teaches us, was poor. At least maybe I can control the room as he says you need to do, and then I can ask some good questions. And then he jumped in and started asking questions, and I thought, I'm redundant now. Look at me controlling the room there. You see that, Sifu? Are you proud of me? I want him to be proud of me.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I've eradicated all ego. I learned about ego a while ago and when it's useful and when it is not. And I've learned to control that, which has been really useful. Hey, when they talked about engraving your name on the Shaolin Temple, that's a true story, by the way, folks, because we mess around a bit on here. But I think that's the beautiful dynamic of this podcast is that we mess around a bit. But at the end of the day, I'm talking right now to 3 individuals at the top of their game. They are elite in every respect. And I think that's what makes it a bit fun is that I can bring them down to my level. So just on that point there with the Shaolin Temple, you are permanently engraved in the Shaolin. Is that correct? Is that accurate?
That is correct. That's correct. And I'm a
Is it your name or like you?
member representative of the Shaolin Temple all around the world.
How do they engrave it? Is it like a picture of your face?
No, I wish. They've got the name of everyone that has contributed to share the knowledge of Kung Fu engraved on the marble plaque in the Shaolin Temple in China. Landscape of the history, like Dion explained, of the birthplace of Kung Fu, where everyone travels around the world to enrich their knowledge in Kung Fu. And I look back and I reflect on how far I came, and I feel like I didn't come this far to come this far. You know, I feel like you look at winners, you look at people who are successful in any businesses, they're not successful because you're just hungry for money. They're successful because they're addicted to win. And anyone throw challenges at me, I can't sleep until I can win it. I can't sleep until I can make it happen. If someone says, I don't think you can do this, and I guess, Dion, to answer your question, that's how it started. It started because obviously I'm a non-Asian teaching Chinese Kung Fu. And regardless who you are and what field you are. And I feel like when that name was engraved on the plaque, and I feel like everything just was thrown at me, you know, responsibilities. And unfortunately, responsibilities, whether you like it or not, you have to lead with, you know, with influencing people in the right direction. You can't mess it up. The main thing I was scared is failing. I'm still scared of failing. I don't want to fail. Failure is probably my biggest weakness. If I feel like I'm in a position where I'm going to fail, I isolate myself so I can make sure I win.
I know, Ryan, at the moment you're working with a lot of clients and your ability to listen to them is extraordinarily, you know, impactful for them and then obviously apply what you've listened to. And it's hard to listen. Like a lot of people think it's, you know, they just take it for granted, but I believe it's a skill that takes time. And so can you just briefly share your experience at the moment? Because I know you're dealing with people who have heartache beyond belief in a legal context and how you're approaching that.
Being able to listen, being able to be calm, being able to slow things down is absolutely critical to some of the clients. Some of them have had kids around that age that have died, and it could have been completely avoidable. Just pause, sit there, and imagine that happened to you if you're a parent, right? Or if you're an uncle or an aunt or something like that, or a grandparent. That's what they hear when they wake up in the morning, right? From that child's bedroom. And as attorneys, what we need to do, I think we need to listen more. I think we need to be calm. I think we need to allow people to express themselves for as much time as they possibly need to or want to, right? And then we need to analyze. I think we need to slow things down and let them know that there's a helping hand there. Again, that's what they're hearing. And that's what they're going to continue to hear. There's nothing that we can do as attorneys to ever unscramble that egg, to ever put that child back there, right? And the gravity of that is so significant that they can take whatever time they want forever, as far as I'm concerned. And what we do then as attorneys is try to diminish that pain just a little bit more. It's extremely important for them, and I think for society, right? We operate a lot in New York, New Jersey, the Northeast and stuff like that to make sure that these individuals and that child's voice is heard so that the next person doesn't have to call us, right? So I think what it starts at, Dion, to answer your question, is to be calm, to be patient, to try, even in that silence, right? Just acknowledging when people are saying things I understand. Like, your voice is heard when you talk to me.
Yeah.
It's just so incredibly important, right? It's so incredibly heartbreaking.
If I flip over to both Laura and Sifu, because, and I'll come back to you, Ryan, but that was impactful what you said just then. And I don't want to spend, a huge amount of time on this, but I would like to get Laura's feedback here and also Sifu as well.
Well, I actually have an intersection here. Sifu's gorgeous partner, Emma, and I went to an event recently, which was for women. And it was about energizing and inspiring women. And Emma was speaking and I went to support her. And one of the really interesting themes that came out from that is the way that women are needing to be heard, and that sometimes what they need is for somebody who will, the speaker used this analogy of staying above the line in the conversation. And the above the line was a metaphor for the positive energy in a conversation, and then the below the line was the negative energy in a conversation. And the interesting point that was made by this speaker, who was a psychologist, was about the difference between fixer energy and collaborative energy. And so fixer energy is where you hear someone with a horrible story and you immediately jump into solutioning. You jump into fixing. And this is often what lawyers do. They say, oh, I've got a legal remedy for that. It's XYZ. We can take that person to court, or we can change that contract, or whatever. And they're very proud of their legal analysis. What Ryan's actually describing is collaborative energy with the client, which totally changes the game because it respects them as a participant in their own outcome. And it says, we don't necessarily have all of the answers. In fact, you may have more of the answers than we do. All we are is the vehicle through which we get from A. And I think that being able to stay in that collaborative energy is really critical, particularly for these clients who are so damaged. But the one thing I noticed when I was up there recently, last month in New York, listening to some of them, was they are so excited that anybody will not only listen, but stand up for them. This is a life-changing event. The mere fact that they can talk to someone who they feel will take them seriously is a major, major event in their life, which we should not take for granted. And I think Ryan in particular is doing an amazing job of that audience sort of starting to trust him in that regard. I'll hand over to you, Sifu.
I'd like to jump in just to refer to the first podcast that you guys did, because, I guess for me, I wouldn't say it's the same, but time is to listen to everyone. And I mean, I don't have one client I see up to 5,000 people per week. So that's a big number, and everyone wants your attention. And if you take the time to listen to everyone and the emotion is coming through, I'm trying to find my way in saying, how do you concise the emotion and listening to what the client is feeling to sort of narrow it down to guide them in a journey that you will be able to give them the trust? I guess when it comes to trust, most people who don't know you guys will feel like, okay, I've got to have a cost factor before I get to know this person. How do you guys engage that trust within that time frame for these people to trust you?
It's really interesting because so much about legal credibility is what we've done in the past, right? And it just comes back to this thing about being present. Ryan and I have worked at the highest level. We've been in the courts. I've been in the magic circle. I've been at the bar. He's been at KPMG. We've done everything that you need for credibility. We know the law inside and out. That's actually not what matters to these people. What the trust is engaged literally just because of the human-to-human interaction.
I would double click on that, Laura. I mean, it has been rare that I've said, oh, I've been in front of a Supreme Court justice when I was in my early 20s or something like that. Like, of course. Like, I can always say that. That's not the thing, Sifu, that is getting it done. It is the listening. It's the empathy. It's the genuine element that underlies the ability to say, I am empathetic. I understand what you are saying to me. I have listened to you.
Yeah, there's a common theme with the most intelligent people I have in my life, and they are all exceptional listeners. They're really, really good. There is guy who's on the Australian Board of Engineers, and he's the skyscrapers that you see in Melbourne and other cities. He's been the head structural engineer in charge of those, and he's received offer after offer. But every time I talk to this guy, his name's Damian, he seems to be in sponge mode. He just soaks up what I say, and then to your point, Ryan and Laura as well, he just knows once I've said what I wanted to say, he just really, really smoothly moves into offer context, or something moves on top of that. It's like he's just storing this information. Whereas I believe other people are thinking, they're trying to listen to you, but they're going, oh, I want to say this. They're constantly thinking about, oh, I want to jump in and I want to say this and I want to say this. And so there's a real art to this ability, which he seems to have. I'll give one other example and then I'll throw it back to you guys. Another one of my best friends, actually, known amongst his friends as Captain Wonderful, is a extremely successful businessman, and he took me last week to do my first ice bath. This was a shock to my system, but I think it all ties into being present, because when I was in that 4-5 degree water, just a bit above kind of freezing temperatures for the first time ever, I was present. Oh my God, I didn't want to be so present. I did not want to be so present. We did 3 minutes and then sauna and then another 3 minutes. It was my first one ever. I said, no, I'm going to mentally prepare and I'm going to do the full 3 minutes. And I did. And as I'm under that water there, I could feel my eyes starting to like close. I couldn't control it. They were just kind of getting sleepy. I sort of had this incredible euphoric feeling, but man, was I present. So I think I need a way to feel like I'm in 5 degree water when I'm listening to others.
Well, I think I have an answer, because the first time I ever did with Sifu's partner, Emma, a 5-minute wall sit, I was present. And every time he makes me do these ridiculous abdominal exercises, I am present. So it's definitely through exercise. Can I just make one other point, Dion, that I've been storing up for this whole podcast, is I just wanted to talk about this concept of the challenges and the sharpening of the sword. Everybody on this call is currently going through some extreme personal and professional challenges, and I personally know that about each of us. They're all different. They're the full spectrum of human interactions. But I just wanted to note that one thing that Ryan and I have been talking about is the fact that over the past 4 years where we've been building this firm to launch, there are moments where we've had nothing other than blind faith in ourselves and each other that we could do this. We've had every obstacle thrown at us, every conceivable obstacle. We have had our ego stripped down to its bare bones, to the point where we questioned our very existence and each other's. And it's only now, having gone through that and been almost at the point where this firm is really starting to kick goals in 2 jurisdictions, that we can almost breathe out and go, that was worth it. But bloody hell, when we're in that challenge that went for years and years and years, it's hard to see the light of day. But now I look at it and go, it's a blessing.
Laura, you think about it, and then you think about it, like, it is every element of what I hear these clients are saying to me when they are in these situations that are existential, that are world shattering in terms of the way that they understand the world, right? And it's like, hey, I've been there. Like, I've been stripped down to nothing, right? I've been stripped down to nothing. I want to hear how you've been stripped down to nothing as well. And you really wear it, what I'm saying, Laura.
Can we ask Damian if he's prepared to talk about it, about his situation? Because I think it actually ties into what you've been discussing, Ryan, what these clients are going through.
That's the 26th of January last year. My youngest son, Nico, was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And that was a shock. That was a shock because all my life is spent, lifetime just helping people going through cancer, raising money for Cancer Foundation. But when I went through this, it was a shock because I didn't see this coming to me in our immediate family, And I guess I had to put my mask on. I had to be strong and hoping and have faith that everything is going to work out, because I didn't want to believe that was happening to my son. And it was quite interesting because when that happened to him, he wanted me to stay at the hospital with him when they were doing for all the MRIs and all the treatment before the treatment, I guess, just to work out where it's at, what's happening, because he's lost all his complex motor skill. We will find out he was diagnosed with a brain tumor in a very risky part of his brain. And he was so positive and strong going through the treatment that it made me realize monkey see, monkey do. You speak of testimonials from clients, obviously it speaks for itself. If it came to you, they obviously came to you because of the testimonial speak for itself, or having podcasts talking about how you guys feel about client is also reassuring for whoever will come into your company or the journey or having this conversation with you in the future. But when I look at how resilient Nico was going through this, it made me realize no matter how you can explain to someone or be there for them going through that journey and having a positive energy and being in this room and listening to you guys as a team, it's a great feeling. I enjoy being here and I enjoy, listening to you guys talking about business, having fun, mucking around and restructuring, going back to where we are and why we're here today. I reflect on Nico today and I feel like he's obviously absorbed this positive energy around him, and he's still resilient as of today, and he keep me going. And when I look at everybody's excuses every day, I'm like, hey, you can't complain. There's people going through way worse than you. So I'm listening, but not listening like Dion was saying before, And you listen in the middle at the end of the conversation, you wrap your head around what they're saying so you can give them the solution that they need. But the truth is, life is hard. Relationship is hard. Being married is hard. Having a job is hard. You just got to choose your heart, I mean, the most successful people, when people watch them, they just see the success. They don't see how many times they failed. Look at Michael Jordan. They don't see how many times he's missed the shoot.
Dion, I never told him about this. You have to tell him.
My son is named after Michael Jordan.
No way.
Yeah, so he's been a hero of mine since I was very young, and I love that he says, I've missed 10,000 free throws. I've had the chance to win the winning shot, 5 times, and I've missed, this many, and so on and so forth. And he ends that by saying, and that is why I succeed. Do not be afraid of failure. I like that this is becoming common advice too, because as much as I have a distaste for certain types of social media and constant scrolling, I do very much enjoy some aspects of life becoming common knowledge. And one of those is that failure should be celebrated and embraced so that you can learn from it. And I try to teach my young boys that as well.
It's that Patch Adams, if you use it in the hospital context, that Tony Robbins, power of positivity. I remember I was for law school. I wanted to get into law school. I called up that radio show. It was early on, and the guy gave me a shout out. He actually said my name. It was kind of I think it was earlier days for Tony Robbins. I think it was before he was and my buddy was into him. He was like, I love, power of positivity, Tony Robbins, you know what I mean? He was a very positive kind of guy. And I was listening,
if you could only see Ryan's face right now.
Dude, and it was awesome. The guy actually said my name. And I was like, man, dude, Tony Robbins wants me to do good on the LSATs. I was studying my eyeballs literally fell out. I put them back into my head. You know what I mean? But it really is that power of positivity. And that's a real thing. Can
I just in there, listening. Ryan, and just say something else?
Yeah.
I think your positivity is one of the most defining characteristics that you have. And I'd like to think everybody on this call has that to a certain extent. But I just wanted to talk about this failure concept, because I feel like Americans celebrate failure much more than Australians do. And Damian said earlier in the podcast that he has a fear of failure, and I have it as well. But I'm learning to let go of it, because obviously
I think Americans celebrate everything more than we do.
I just wanted to say about the fact that so many of the things that we've been doing are almost inevitable that they're going to fail, or that they have a very high risk of failing. And so a lot of people look at me and look at Ryan and look at Dion and go, you guys are insane. Go and get a job as a general counsel or a very stable, secure role. And that all sounds great. And a lot of people are really good at it. But we are drawn to this sort of entrepreneurship. But you have to be prepared to let your plane hit the ground. And it's the most terrifying thing. It's absolutely the most terrifying
I'm
thing.
going to jump in. I guess why I express myself, I'm scared of failing, because I look at failure as first attempt in learning. But when you feel like you've got responsibilities, and if you're failing for yourself, it's okay. If you miss a shot, I'm sorry for what happened to you, man. But you look at it like you've got your arms and you get your legs, and you've got the skill set that you have acquired through your matcha journey, and you can build it again. But I feel like when us in this room, and we're talking about the audience who's listening right now, when we have someone else's responsibilities and you're carrying it and they're relying and you build the trust, you don't want to mess it up. I mean, when I've listened to someone and I've listened to their problem and I did a roadmap on how we're going to get there. And if something happens along the way and you mess that up, and you will feel responsible. And the reason I said that, yes, I'm still scared of failing, because the reason I'm so passionate at what I do, I've lost at least 3 people. 2 of them committed suicide. Then I couldn't save. And I feel like mindset, people like, I mean, look at Robin Williams, you know, he was making the world laugh. No one could see what he was going through. And
High
the truth,
highs and low lows.
yeah, so you can't tell what someone else go through. And if they're relying on you to make it from A to B, you do not want to mess this up. I'll be doing cold plunge every half an hour so I can be present, because being present means that you've got to be full focus. You've got to be sharp, and you've got to make sure you do every single word that you said you're going to do. That's me.
I think interject really quickly on that one. With the Robin Williams thing, I've noticed a trend among people in my life that are so bubbly and have such high highs, and they are so exuberant and in a public, like Robin Williams. It's just that they are just the life of the party. And I just want to give a shout out to anyone that's out there that has those folks in their life, because I'm not a therapist, and, you know, please take this with a grain of salt, but my personal experience has been they all have low lows, really low lows. So they need someone there for them for the low lows, because when you're in the limelight, like Robin Williams was, and he was stage performing and doing all these things, he was, you know, on top of the world. But then you got to believe that a lot of those folks have the polar opposite when they're behind closed doors on their own, and bad things can happen then. So you need someone in your corner.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, great.
And what I see was very, very difficult decisions being made for the betterment of other people. And I see that is literally, you know, that phoenix that rose through the ash, that becomes like a core principle, a core ethos and ethical element, right?
I think my best advice would be to try to, even if you're a subject matter expert as a founder, and there are many, just try to get your ego out of the way and set yourself up well with people around you who can help. And then also just try to make sure that your legal ducks are in a row. A lot of the reasons that I managed to survive that very difficult time with what was an extremely unfair thing that was done to me was because I had legal belts and braces in there that protected me. And a lot of people go into entrepreneurship and they simply don't, because they think it'll come later. And these compliance things and the rigor with which you go into the setup of an organization is absolutely really, really important.
I think from my side of the house, the answer to the question dovetails quite nicely with Laura's, in the sense that it's like the client knows best. The client has all the answers. And if you are not getting them, my general disposition is that I am not asking the right questions. I'm not approaching it in the right way. I'm not listening enough, right? And that's what gives me what I need to be empowered to navigate the right way for that client with respect to their particular case and their particular goals.
Guys, I'm going to ask some quick fire questions now. So, Sifu, let's go first. What's the most brutal or humbling moment you've ever experienced in training that potentially nearly made you quit?
In training, I don't think I had any brutal moment in training itself.
Stick over the head.
Have you ever been humbled by someone who is a master, who, you know, Mr. Miyagi'd you?
I don't think that was anything like that made me want to quit or going forward. But no, I don't think so. I'll be lying if I come up with something right now.
Oh, wow. Hey, quick shout out to all of the Kung Fu masters out there. We have a gentleman here, Sifu. He needs to be humbled. Everyone needs to be humbled at some point in their career. He's formally asked us to invite you over.
He's officially not humble.
I can't come up right now thinking, why would I want to quit? I feel like it helped me to be better. I'm just going to recap what you said, Dion, because you popped a question before. You say that everyone wants to be to the highest rank or highest moment in life. Like obviously Laura has achieved, and every single one of us you mentioned has achieved on this podcast. But what is the highest place to be? I mean, I look at my life and I feel like you as an individual can create it. I listened to Ryan mentioning Tony Robbins. If we focus on Tony Robbins, there will never be a new Tony Robbins. I look at what I did for the last 5 years. I started a program called the Morpheus program. And I look at everyone who's watched The Matrix in 1999. Every man wanted to be Neo. Every woman wanted to be Trinity. But the truth is, no one wanted to create new Morpheus. Why? Because they didn't think they had nothing to offer. The truth is, if we don't have any great coaches, we will never have any more Neos. And if we don't create great mindset leaders, we will never find great enterprise with great employees that will be willing to fulfill the journey and the task that is provided. So I feel like look at what I want to achieve. What is my highest place I want to be? I want to be more efficient in creating more leaders, and to be in that mindset, to be willing to be where you want to be, you got to have someone who's higher than you when you're down at your lowest to feel like you can't do it because it's too hard.
I think I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if I disagree or I just look at it differently, because I think that those Neos and those examples that you've got out there are extremely useful to create brand new, something that never existed before up to a point. Right. So you start with a dream and you're inspired by individuals. So that inspiration is extremely useful. And then you have to take your own path. But I think that without the initial inspiration, talking about the Tony Robbins, say, for example, if we did that for a few minutes here, or if we did that a lot, just in an ongoing basis, that's the inspiration. And then that helps you go off on a tangent and take your own path. But you have to have both. You can't just always talk about someone else, or you're absolutely correct, Sifu, in that you'll always be contained.
As soon as you said I was correct, you threw me a challenge, and I'm like, he disagrees. I like that. I like that better because I feel like,
oh my God, am I in control of the room?
Excited.
Am I in control?
It's me that I did something well in training. You've always got to tell me it was shit, because if you tell me I did it well, then I stop doing it.
Well, that's true. I mean, what I was essentially I'm saying that is that the truth is we need to allow someone else to grow. I mean, there's always someone who did something great in the past. People always refer to Arnold Schwarzenegger when they refer to bodybuilding. People refer to a lot of different individuals when they refer to highs and lows. They always refer to someone, Yeah. As you mentioned about your son, you mentioned Michael Jordan. And, I like Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, I like his philosophy. I like the way he does business. I like the way he treats his kids. I mean, he made it, not his kids, and his kids felt like he did it.
Let's get Shaq.
So yeah. Hey, Sifu, I'm going to just target you because if I need to, I can jump in with the other guys here. But I know you've got to leave us. So, what's a moment where your discipline saved you, not so much in a training context, but in a business context?
When the business was affected by things that was out of our control. I mean, I'm going to mention COVID, or I mentioned the inflation. I've got a lot of businesses that I've run for myself. And things that are out of your control, the discipline has allowed me to reinvent myself and to be able to do so in the moment where, there's no textbook. For instance, COVID, there was no textbook on what do you do as a business when you're restricted to leave your house, or when you have to reinvent yourself because people's mindset were affected. I guess the discipline has helped me to come up with different ideas on how to make it for the next day.
All right, next one. Just quick response. You've got hundreds of thousands of followers. How do you approach monetizing your skills?
I try to be unique. And everything that I do, I make it unique and I make it genuine and I make it in a way that I'm in control of it. I will offer different services aligned to that.
So I just want to say a really big thank you to Sifu for joining us here today. And is there anything that you want to say to our audience, Sifu? Maybe they can jump in and check you out.
They can find me on the internet, Damian, on Instagram or Empower Tactical. Just Google Empower Tactical and you'll be able to reach out to me. I was very pleased to be here with you guys today. Having a positive mindset and having faith and believing in what we want to do helps both ourselves to keep going as a business and also our clients to build trust, knowing that we've got their back and to listen to them so they understand that we understand the roadmap, where the problem is, and we all understand what's important is the outcome. And if we're all fighting the same war, we're going to be able to accomplish results by understanding each other where we're going with this, letting someone lead the pathway. And that's where our job is.
Indeed.
Bless you, Sifu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
I think maybe I'll flip over to Laura and say, I'll just change the tone here on this one a little bit because we had...
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm thinking about Sifu and having just had the Kung Fu master in here. I want to ask Laura if she could fight Sifu, Ryan, or myself, who she would choose to fight and why.
I'd fight Ryan.
Yeah.
But why? Because you want to win, or
I know I'm going to win.
I'm bringing baseball bats, nuclear arms. So like I'm an American, you know what I mean? I'm dropping bombs that you don't even know existed. They've been there since World War II.
I think Ryan would fight dirty, man. He's going to scratch and bite and everything like that. He'd take me down.
I think I fight Ryan about once a month, not physically, but mentally.
You're going to have to get through the whole smoke screen of insanity before you even get to throw a punch, you know?
Yeah, I definitely would not fight Damian. It's actually an interesting segue into one of our guests that we will hopefully have on the podcast soon, my other trainer, Brendan, who was going into his first boxing fight the other day, and I don't know how he went. He and I were training at the gym, and he said, I'm going into this first fight with this other dude who's also 100 kilos, and he pulled up a picture of this guy. And he expected me to say, oh, Brendan, you've got this. And I went, oh, my God, you're in deep shit, mate, because this guy looks so terrifying.
That guy, you put Brendan in deep shit?
Oh, my gosh.
Brendan looks like a Ninja Turtle. You can't.
Brendan is literally a good muscle man, but this guy looks so scary. Man.
What does he have? Like,
I'm just picturing Mr.
Who was just covered in sleeves and everything. And he looked like a really, really scary dude. Have to find out how Brendan went.
They have like gnarly teeth or something.
No, Brendan's not with us anymore.
No, Brendan's like a big, charming. This dude was killer. Man. Wow. Anyway, we have to get Brendan on. I haven't asked him yet.
Maybe Brendan hugged him to death.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen Brendan when I've been training.
He's a quad fighter. What I would do, I would get him on the
farmer.
ground. I would squeeze the life out of neck with those quads, man.
I've seen this man lift cars. He lifted cars.
He looks like, you just look at some people and go, he would lift cars. Yeah. I remember him in a really nice suit at your 50th, Laura, and he was bursting out of that thing.
That was a tailor-made suit for him. He had to. I'm the first person. I genuinely am the first person who ever got that man in a suit.
He was still bursting out of that, even tailor-made. Like that was his quads and his biceps and everything. Laura, when did you realize you were operating at a different level to your peers?
When I was about 7.
Was there a moment? Was there a thing? Was there like a real?
Can I tell you my story?
Oh man!
This is
you're not. It's got to be quick. Sorry, it's got to be quick. Quick fire.
The angle of attention here.
Shut up, Ryan. The true story is this: that in grade 2. Shut up.
What do you want?
In
the
grade
most
2.
pretentious lawyer in the world, the Queen Elizabeth incarnate, Laura Keily, who was better than you at 7 years old, or Ryan McCrosson, who will bust your coconut open.
When I was 7, the teacher made me come out and teach the maths with her because the little kids were... Anyway, whatever.
The little kids were that Keily McCrosson can choose your poison on our Chinese menu. Death.
What are you on about?
I know, but I like it.
I'm just kidding. I mean, it's a beautiful story.
It's actually No, she was doing this thing, I remember very vividly, with hopscotch, and like everyone had to do hopscotch.
There was a 7-year-old doing hopscotch
Sorry,
against
it's
me.
fine. Just forget about it, Ryan. You just want to take the mickey out of me all the
She's
time.
picking up garbage.
No, we-
somewhere.
I believe Sifu has never been humbled. I can't believe he's never been humbled.
Oh, I reckon he's been humbled. I think he was just put on the spot by your quick-fire questions are quite difficult to answer.
Yeah, they are.
But for mere mortals like us, they are. But for
I should have told him
divine
about.
entities like yourself, Laura, they are not.
No, I'm not.
I thought, should I tell Sifu that I've done Taekwondo, Karate, Kung Fu, and Judo? And I was doing fairly well. And especially in Judo, I just seemed to have a knack for it and won a couple of tournaments. But this was in my younger teens. And I thought this could be a career path for me. And then I fought Matt Salotti, and the fight went for 7 seconds. I went left, I went right, and then I saw the lights of the stadium. And he used a thing called hamachigari on me, and I just got flipped completely around and smashed onto my back. The speed at which I saw the lights was, if someone's got a glow stick and a slow shutter speed on a camera where you see them doing figure eights and things like that. That's what my eyes saw, was just all the stadium lights go like that. And then from that moment on, I was like, okay, I've been humbled. And I was like, I know where I'm at with this. This is not my career path.
Yeah, no, I'm not prepared to step in.
I got good at running fast.
Yeah, you're very good at running.
Fast. Yeah.
The running thing really annoys me. Because he
Why?
can run and
Why does it
talk.
annoy you?
Well, because it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Run for 2 hours and just talk.
Fucking disgusting. To run for 2 hours and hold a conversation. What's
He
wrong?
runs with a backpack of laptops and then he just talks like he's just down the street.
You know when you should never be humbled? In the Olympics. I just had this thought of Usain Bolt, who humbled other world champion sprinters in the world stage. He's running and just kind of, smiling and looking to his left and right. You can't do that. Like, that's the 100-meter gold medal race. You're not
Ryan would
supposed to
do that.
humble.
If Ryan was a gold medal runner, he would do that. He would just be looking around all over the place.
I'd probably be having a client interview.
Yeah. Have you seen that movie, The Dictator? He starts the 100-meter race because he's a dictator. He holds his own Olympic Games and he participates in some of the events. And in the 100-meter race, he's allowed to have a gun, but all of the other guys don't have one. And he just fires it in front of their feet while he's running down.
Doesn't stick me in the head.
That's a pretty good strategy. It sounds very effective.
Let me ask you about class actions. So I'm conscious that not everyone listening to this is going to even know what a class action is. Yet Laura and Ryan, they seem to work through these things. It seems every week you've got another one that you're working on, or that's the impression I get. Can you, maybe I'll start with Ryan here. Can you just explain what a class action is?
So a class act is when you walk in the room, and you ever see like James Bond or something like that, or like, the woman equivalent. Like you walk in the room and they're like, that looks on point. That's a class act.
A class act. Okay. Laura, do you have a different take on what a class act is?
So a class action is a representative proceeding.
Wait a minute.
It is?
A class
no.
action or a class act?
A class act. You are a class act describing a class action.
I am a class act.
It's a classy dude.
I'm not. You literally just said that.
Yeah, he's a classy dude. At my
You just said
birthday, actually, he wore a white tuxedo, which looked exactly
very Bond.
very, very Bond. Very, very Bond. We were all expecting him to sort of like hang from a like wire from the ceiling or something, and just that's mission.
What is it?
Got my movies around the wrong way.
James could do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't wire from any ceiling. I walk in.
You figured it out. The caterers turned up and you figured out how to do all of the things. Anyway, a class action is a representative proceeding whereby you have one applicant who brings a claim to decide common questions which apply to a whole bunch of people and can be hundreds or thousands of people. I have flipped over into being a buyer of the services of the Bar of Victoria. And that's a really interesting position for me.
Is there a reason why you say it like that? Like the
What
bar.
up, the bar?
Like the bar.
The bar,
Sorry,
having
like
been in the bar. And
The
it's
bar.
really interesting.
Can I
Say
get
it
some
from
more of your
the
Australian accent there, please, Ryan?
It's so yeah. No. It's
Can you
funny,
give me
it's funny,
another?
'cause it just dawned on me right now, literally, when I was saying that. It's basically the same thing as a Boston accent. It's like I'm gonna go to the.
No,
I'm gonna the
sorry.
You guys have the like one.
You know, Ryan.
I'm gonna.
Ryan.
Everybody from Massachusetts is gonna kill me right now. Okay, I'm a Yankees fan, but like, you guys got one of the worst American accents. Actually, that zero equivalent accent. You know, outside of like.
You
I'm not
know,
gonna say it. We're gonna start.
So
Ryan, hang on. Your microphone is so bad that I feel immense relief whenever you stop talking and Laura starts talking.
that's just general state of
do I do?
affairs.
Yeah, well,
What do I do?
maybe.
I'm trying to find within me the act that I do to bring you to your knees with laughter. What's the one that I do? When you know, you wouldn't believe what happened to me and the missus the other day. Jesus Christ. She was crying, squealing like a fucking Sheila in the back of me ute. And I was with the kids and fuck me, Jesus Christ. The coppers came around. And you know what she says to me? You're always at the fucking pub, mate. You leave me here with these shitty little asshole kids. And now the coppers...
This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is former barrister Laura Keely's alter ego.
Fucking woman.
Former-
She just does my
former-
fucking head in.
That was brilliant. Oh, wow.
I can go on with...
wow.
I can carry on with this shit for hours and hours, Dion. Hours and hours. You wouldn't believe the goddamn fucking shit show this woman puts me through every fucking goddamn day of my bloody life.
Does she text a lot?
Struth.
Can't believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now.
Can I tell the story?
Hang on, before you do, I just want to ask a quick question. Why is it that everyone in the States, when they're white collar or in business, effectively have the same haircut as a Lego man? Everyone does that Lego man haircut. It's just got the move it over from one side.
They're copying me. They're bad copies.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask both of you a question? The two of you needed to go to a, I don't know what it was, like a Walmart or a supermarket or something like that. And I saw a photo of Ryan in a motorized wheelchair type of situation. And I'm thinking, here is this guy who's former KPMG's advised US presidents. He's an attorney and all of that. And he's
Oh my God. This
gone
was
and
the
put
most
himself. He's perfectly able-bodied and he's got himself in the motorized wheelchair. Can you tell me that story, please?
So he gets in the motorized wheelchair outside the supermarket in the car park and he drives up to the supermarket entrance. And I sort of think, okay, he's being a bit of an idiot and he's going to just park the motorized wheelchair. He goes through the entire supermarket for about half an hour in the motorized wheelchair. And I'm just trying to get as far away from him as possible. But my non-favorite moment is he's got the thing beeping. It's going beep, 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 beep. It's got a flag on the back of it.
Very, very bad.
But boy, he does. This was the worst moment. Is he goes up to some poor guy and says, "Can you get me the biscuits or the crackers or whatever?" He said on the top shelf. And the guy goes, "Yeah, no worries. Which ones?" And he's like, "No, not those ones. The ones to the left." And then he stands up.
He actually wasn't listening to me.
Himself.
Like,
puts them back in the basket of the thing. And then says, "Excuse me." He's on his way in the wheelchair car. I was so embarrassed and he was doing this over and over again.
I don't think there was anything embarrassing. Like, first of all, I don't understand why he wasn't listening. Clearly, I was a person in need. And second of all, I did have a very bad ingrown toenail and was running, and it was a horrific thing, for me. So I wasn't going to walk around like that. I mean, that's why that cart is there for me. You know what I mean? So decided to take advantage of, the accommodations that everybody should be afforded. And frankly, I thought it was a delightful experience. Generally speaking, outside of that particular man, everybody was quite nice to me, and they did help me, because that was not the only top shelf thing that I needed assistance on, and everybody else executed with perfection, and I actually thought it was a very good experience.
I had to run.
I don't know why you would be. I don't know why you would be embarrassed by that at all.
Not at all. But you screaming out Laura at the top of your lungs while I was hiding at the soup.
I don't know why you would just be hiding around the meat section.
Did anyone go above and beyond to help you? Like maybe they were just thinking, oh, look, this young man probably doesn't get out much. Let's make it incredible for him.
I would say, generally speaking, everybody that was there at that Acme in Beach Haven West was just totally awesome. The staff of that Acme, you guys and girls, because I was trying to reach this one red pepper and I couldn't get it. And I was really struggling at a certain point in time. This one woman named Sheila, she came over and she got it for me. Like I didn't even have to ask. And she just brought it to the basket and put it in the bag and stuff like that. And I was like, geez, if I got out on this toe, I could really pop a blister or something like that. So thank you for doing that.
If it was anyone condescending or demonstrative and gave you a pat on the head or anything like that?
Outside of that one individual, I would say no. That person, I would be glad to help a person in my disposition now that I'm repaired through my doctors and stuff like that. I would gladly help a person in my disposition.
I think you're going to have to represent Laura. Sorry, Laura, you're going to have to represent Ryan in the near future, I think.
Pro se on that.
Has there ever been a law firm where the majority of the claims that they file are for one of the founders or one of the partners of the firm?
I think actually this one, potentially.
I didn't feel accommodated there, frankly. And
still claims that desperate to file and probably will get around to at some point. On behalf of all three.
Yeah.
We actually do have a very serious litigation practice, including medical malpractice, where we take our clients in the United States very seriously.
Believe it or not. Yeah,
because in wheelchairs, Ryan,
disclaimer.
We inhabit wheelchairs now because of the things that we have to correct. Let's just hope that they've already signed their letters.
Credit to both of you being able to flip it around and really, lighten things up and have a laugh here, because I know that your day-to-day is definitely... All right. We're done here.
We're about to sue a major bank. We're about to sue probably about 50 insurance companies. And I came up with another class action today while I was sitting in this meeting with the barrister. I thought of another one, Ryan. I thought of a really good class action.
Look at that, strategizing on the cast at the moment.
It's really incredible. No, so these theories that you have to come up with in order to pursue a class action can be quite compelling and pretty interesting. That's my rant. Can. I think I'm entitled to one rant per podcast. I feel like I haven't had a proper rant yet. I ranted about my birthday. It was a pretty epic birthday party.
Birthday party?
It was an amazing birthday party. Can we do it again when I'm 51?
No.
Why not?
No.
What do you think, Dion?
$50,000 birthday.
Absolutely not.
You should go the polar opposite and get a couple of bags of cheap wine, goon bag, hang it up on a clothesline, and send you for your 51st birthday. We'll go in the other direction and we'll go to a public park and get drunk and spend no dollars.
Jesus Christ. I couldn't even get out of the goddamn room fast enough. It threw me in the back of the goddamn divvy van again. There's so many fucking kids. I don't even know which ones. I don't know which fucking ends up anymore.
Thanks for listening to the Keily McCrosson podcast. If you heard something today that made you think differently, then please share the love on social media. Do whatever it is you do in terms of liking, sharing, and following things. On the next episode, we reveal the meaning of life. Yeah. So set yourself a reminder for that one. Bye now.